Okay, so there's some questions here. Can you recommend the best broker for trading stocks? I can't because I don't trade stocks that well. Um, can you save this chart template? Yes, you can. I'll go through that. Actually, let me show you that right now. Let me do this. Do this. Okay, so just a second. What you would do here as an example, you go to charts and you would say template, and you would click Save Template, and you can see here there's already some save templates already. You can save that. What I do is I save this template that I have as default, and what that allows it to do is when you save it as default, it will automatically open to that template every single time. If you don't want that template, then you wouldn't save it as default, but if you do want that template, save it as default and it'll open up every time. So every time you open a new chart, you'll have that. We're not ending anytime soon. If I open an account and I am not a US citizen and I move to the USA, am I in trouble? Not necessarily, because I think the issue you will have will be moving money because they're going to want to know your banking information. So if you can still move money to your previous bank and keep that open, you should be okay. Hey Ted, is the webinar going to be available later? Yes, it will be. It will be recorded and you'll get a link to it. What's my nationality background? My mom's from England and my dad's Hungarian. Will the groups be based on trading experience as well? I mean, not only geographic. So what I do is I set up everybody that's in this webinar. You guys are now all great friends. So there's going to be probably 2 or 3 groups that are going to come out of this. I'm going to put about 50 people in each of the groups. And you guys will all become great friends. You'll joke around. You'll have a great time. It's funny because people don't know each other, but then after like 3 weeks, you guys are like planning to go out for dinners and do stuff. It's a really great atmosphere. And then I drop in all my top traders into these groups because they love handling new people, and they have a good laugh working with new people and helping you guys succeed. You'll get to know a lot of the experienced traders. They are all very, very good traders, very, very smart. We are a cynical bunch. We will beat you over the head when we see you're doing something wrong because we want you to be the best you can be. So really work well with them. They will work well with you. We never fight with you. There's never fights in my groups. Everyone's very encouraging. I really promote that. I promote no stupid questions. Ask as many as you need to. You'll have access to me privately. If you need to message me, you can message me. Usually the only time I don't get back to you is if I'm sleeping, but it's a really good atmosphere in terms of learning and actually having that ability. And as we start to gain momentum, I then combine other groups together. So you guys then combine with another group so that now you have a different experience, but at the same time too, now you sort of level up, so to speak. So it's a progression, right? Because like I'm not going to put you in a group with my June webinar group because they're just going to laugh at you guys and they're like, I don't want to go through all this again. We're at another level. We're advanced. So I bring people in instead of bringing you into another group. Ted joined about 30 minutes ago to a traffic jam or due to traffic in England. You missed the basics, but definitely it's recorded, so you'll be able to see it again. I see some people complain the execution for certain brokers are slow, but I don't understand what that means. It means that the liquidity wasn't available or the server didn't get the price that they wanted, so that would be a complaint there. Some people asking about brokers, US using others. Here's what I found. There are a lot of reputable brokers out of the US, but you can open accounts, but not local bank accounts. They won't let you send money to them. Yeah. Okay, so someone recommended TD Waterhouse for stocks. How would I save my support and resistance lines on MT4? They automatically save on that chart as long as you don't close the chart. Yes, you'll meet Rooney. Rooney is he is a very good trader, so I believe he wants to be a part of these other groups, so we'll be there. And Anthony is, well, like I said, we have a lot of people from the UK and also from the States that will be around, and there's lots of people that are volunteering to help you guys, so we're in good hands. So far, nobody's jumped off ship. I don't use any indicators. I will talk about that. How many people participate right now? We have over 300, close to 400. Now we're going to have we're going to have close to 600. I think we had like 150 people, 160 people register for today. So we're going to have like close to 600 people. When I do the groups, I share information all the way across them. So what I do in terms of what analysis I provide or insight, I give to everybody. So you're never left out. Sorry, just came back. What are the groups you're talking about? The trading groups you'll be put in. Yeah, so Anthony's another great trader. He has a group that he's built for the UK, and he will be happy to bring you guys in there as well. There are people from Belgium. Who is my mentor? I found my mentor online. They provided me with the basics, and then I learned the rest on my own. Okay. Is the group split based on different trading zones? Not necessarily. I like to just keep it going 24 hours a day. So, as things overlap, um, you'll be able to do that. So we'll be able to go there. Let's see. There's more questions before we get started. Why does MT4 sometimes delete what I draw on the chart? You probably haven't saved it on it, like you didn't double click it. Uh, uh, where will the trading groups be done? They'll be done on Facebook Messenger. I will give you all that. Yeah, Arn is from Belgium, so he says he will connect with you, so we'll get that done. Do I trade the Asian session? We have people that trade the Asian session. I don't, but I'm always around. Do we have traders in the Netherlands? Yes, we do. Yeah, we have people pretty much from South America, Africa, North America, Europe, and now we have a couple people from Russia, and we have a lot of people from Malaysia. Um, so yeah, so Indonesia, yeah, so we have a lot of varying. So you'll find people will start to get there. South Africa, we have Scandinavians. We have here. We also have our friends in Syria and Lebanon and Turkey. All those guys, they're the most fun. They give me the hardest time, but it's really good there. Are active trades in 500 plus broker good? I don't know offhand. You'd have to double check with that. Traders in Costa Rica. I think we have traders in Ecuador. We have traders in Venezuela as well. So I think you'll find there's there. Like Javier is from Venezuela, so I sort of let him do all that stuff over there. Michigan, I think we're close. We have some people out of New York. Obviously GTA as well, so Detroit area and stuff like, or Toronto area. So we were there. Um, Kenya, I believe we have Kenya as well. South Africa, I believe we do. Um, yes, indices, we will talk about that. Can you make good money from trading one currency? Yes, you can. Oh yeah, we have Uruguay. All right, there you go. Uh, yeah, there's Arabs and Turks. That's correct. How many people we have in the Forex family? Close to 600. Yeah, we have South America, Portugal, there you go, Vancouver, Miami, Slovenia, NYC, Dubai, Pakistan, Toronto, there you go. So like Hamilton, Montreal, yeah, like we got everybody. So there you go. Belgium, blah, 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 Brampton, yeah, 601, there you go. So, like we have so many people from around the area, but you'll find that Cuba, Kansas, San Diego, yeah. So like, we're all over here. Like we have Costa Rica, USA. So 817, I don't even know where that is. I apologize for my ignorance for down in the States. Um, Montreal, we have people. Yes, you can focus on two pairs that correlate. That'll help you. San Francisco, Austria, Sweden. Yeah, see, like we're a big family, so everyone's around here. We'll be able to help you. What's the spread in gold in your broker? It depends. Usually it's about 13 pips, 1.3 standard pips. Australia, see, Cuba, holy cow, we got like a lot of people here. Yeah, so we got lots of people. Cuba, Austria. Would you rather trade only one pair or any pair with opportunity shows? You trade according to your trading plan. Um, Yes, people want to take the advanced training. I don't offer that advanced training. You guys are horrible. Like, see, this is what happens. We have the new traders here that you guys are learning, and then I invite all the previous traders in, and you guys will be previous for the next webinar. And um, you'll come in, and that's all they do is they send me questions and they troll me as I'm doing this to knock me off. See, like this is what's happening there. People are doing, no, I don't trade binary. I think there's a lot of issues with that. I did try it. I was successful, but I moved to currency trading right away. Okay, so we're past time. Let's go into the mindset for trading and let's move on to topic 2. No, I'm fine. I'm not messed up from the party on Friday. Okay, so why do traders fail? Um, I think this is the biggest issue. And like I said, this is the biggest topic that I like to talk about. And a lot of people don't like this topic. And the reason why they don't like this topic, it's the reason why they don't like this topic is because it's boring. There's really no trading involved in this, right? So, know, your willingness to create rules, your failure to take responsibility, addiction to random rewards, and external and internal control. This has nothing to do with trading. This sucks. And people look at this topic and they ignore it. And you're going to find as you become a better trader and as you understand trading a lot better, this is the aspect that you are going to work on the most. It's 100% going to be the one that you're going to come back and say, Ted, I wish I had paid attention to this when you talked to me about it, and now I understand why. And really, it's, I would say, 80% mental, 20% analysis. I can teach you how to analyze charts in probably a day. So after about a week, you'll probably understand how to analyze charts. You'll be like, oh, this is easy. All I do is click buy here, click sell there, I make money. Yeah. And then what happens is you keep doing that for a week, and then your mind takes over. Your mind starts saying, hey, if I up my lot size, I can do this. If I take more positions, I can do this. If I trade more during the day, I can make this. So suddenly now, what was like a scary element or something of the unknown, now you become overconfident. And I look at this, the perfect example is, you get a speeding ticket when you speed in your car, right? So the cop pulls you over and says why you were speeding, and you give them some excuse. They give you a ticket. So what do you do for the next week? You drive according to the speed limit. But slowly you start speeding up again, right? So you start driving, if it's, 55 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour on the highway, you start doing 65, because you're like, well, chances are they're not going to pull me over for 10 miles over, right? So that's sort of the adaptation that happens with trading, right? Because you start opening one position and you're profitable there. You're like, I can open 3 or 4. Now the trade's going the wrong way. Now what do? Suddenly you've changed your rules. You're now saying, well, this is too hard for me. This doesn't make any sense. I don't like trading anymore. You forget that when you were trading your one position with your one pair and you're following your plan, trading was easy. Then you start, like I said, you're failing to take responsibility, and now you're blaming the markets for your movements, and you're not able to control yourself at that point, and you're getting overconfident. So, like I said, trading is extremely hard. Don't get it wrong. You are here. I'm going to give you tools. People in the groups are going to give you tools. We're going to give you cheat codes that are going to give you accelerated learning. So if you look back on my Instagram as an example, you'll see like last March, February, I had horrible trades. I was entering too early. I was missing trades. I was doing this. I was doing that. I was still doing my smaller lot sizes. I was still learning. I was still adapting. I went through the same thing that you're going to go through. So I'm telling you right now, this is the toughest part. Trading is very hard, but it's also very rewarding, because if you're able to focus on this and say, okay, you know what? If I just do this over and over again, if I'm able to mentally do the same thing over and over again, day in and day out, the only thing that I have to worry about at that point is analyzing and executing, and then letting time take over. And the biggest problem is, maybe you're not trading every day. Maybe you don't have the ability to trade every day. So a lot of people here with 9 to 5 jobs will say, Ted, well, when do I get to trade? I don't have time to do this because I'm working all day. Oh, okay, so maybe you're not trading the North American session. Maybe you're trading the Asian session. So you have to adapt and you have to say, okay, what's the best time for me to trade? Trading is 24 hours. Granted, there are some times that the market doesn't move as much as the other, but it doesn't mean that you can't prep. It doesn't mean you can't execute or put in a pending order or set up a trade for later on. Or like I said, maybe you trade a longer time frame, a higher time frame, so you can trade more longer term. Um, so you're able to figure out what works best for you. And like I said, when we build out your trading plan, everyone will have that opportunity. This is where you're going to have to dissect yourself and you're going to say, okay, what makes the most sense to me? Um, you know, it's really tough because especially coming from a 9 to 5 job, and a lot of traders will attest to this, is people that work 9 to 5 and then come to trading think that they have to trade 9 to 5 or they have to trade for 8 hours, right? Because the idea is, okay, I enter a few positions, and I always laugh about this because people message me in the morning. Like, my trading day is I wake up at 6:30. I've looked at the charts the night before. I'm up at 6:30 a.m. I enter some trades in the morning based on my trading plan, and I'm done for the rest of the day. So my trades could take maybe 5 minutes, they could take maybe an hour, they could take maybe 20 minutes, but after that, I'm not looking at charts anymore. It's very rare that I want to look for more positions because A, I had a focus, I had a game plan, B, I executed, and C, I was successful. So why am I now taken away from that success? Is it because I have nothing better to do for the rest of the day? No, I can do a lot of other things throughout the day. But what I'm trying to say is you have to get out of that mindset that you have to be in front of the chart it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, and I don't mean that you can't be. What I mean is you shouldn't be executing. You should be reviewing the charts. So when I first started trading, I was looking at charts 7, 8 hours a day. I wasn't necessarily executing on them. I was understanding what they were doing. It was more of visualization, more making sure that you're able to experience what is happening in the market and training your eyes to see certain things. So when you look at that, you'll find that the experience comes from just being in front of the charts. If you look at a basketball player, right? So if you ever had, when you went to high school or, football as an example, football players carry around a football with them all the time. Why? It's the focus. It's the preparation. It's the idea that, you know what, like at any given time, I just want to have the ball in my hands. You'll see basketball players, they just carry around the ball. You'll dribble for a couple minutes here and there. It's the same thing with trading. Trading becomes a passion. You have to be passionate about this. It sounds cliche, but once again, your passion comes with your passion comes money, right? So if you're passionate about something, the money comes afterwards, right? Because you'll realize at this point, when you start trading, you're going to be working more hours than you do in a current job. Like I remember when I started trading, even today, all I think about is trading. Obviously I turn it off because I have a life, but it becomes passion. It becomes a game for you, like a strategy. Like, how can I get better? We went out on Friday night. I saw a few people, and it was sort of like, you talk to people, and it's all we're doing is talking about trading because we're consumed by it. And when you let it consume you, it can be a good or a bad thing. But at the same time, what it does is it allows you to maintain that passion for it. Where when you go to a job from 9 to 5, you say to yourself, well, 5 o'clock, I'm done. I'm leaving. I don't want to worry about my job anymore. With trading now, it becomes, okay, I'm doing something I love. I want to do more of that and I want to get better. So how do I do that at that point? What's my favorite time frame to trade? I trade during the North American session. I used to trade the Asian and the Euro. I used to basically wake up, I would go to work, come home, trade the Asian session, sleep for 3 hours, wake up, or not three, maybe 5 hours, wake up for the London session, trade that session, go back to bed, wake up, trade a little bit of North American, go back to work, and rinse and repeat every day. So that's dedication. That is basically, you know, understanding the markets because I wanted to get an edge, and I realized I had to make that sacrifice. Sleeping on your way to work, not going out on weekends, not talking to your friends for a couple of days because all you're doing is focusing on something. It becomes a lifestyle, and it's like going to the gym, and it's one of those things. Um, charting times. Yeah, I'll go through all that in the next sections. So when you look at that, and you know, you have to understand these things, you know, and like I say to people, it's like you're not going to maybe trade every day. As you get better and as you get more experience, maybe trades will you will see setups every day, and you'll be able to take those setups every day. But as you're starting off, maybe every day is not a good time for you to trade. You don't want to do that every day because there's a possibility that you're not actually seeing a correct setup and you're just looking to click a button. You have to understand that there's going to be losing trades. You're going to lose trades. Um, you're going to have to realize that every loss is a lesson to be learned. And you know, a lot of us, you know, you'll see on Instagram, and people always ask me, they're like, "Well, you only post wins, people winning." Well, it's because we've gotten to the point where, you know, I've posted losses, but a lot of people have dialed in their trading plans. They know exactly what they're looking for. They get in and they get out, and they're successful. They've done their 1% for the day or their 2% for the day, and they're happy. And that's what they want to do because they see, you know, based on sort of the information that I provide or the various tools that we have, they see, okay, in 2 weeks, if I can just make 1% a day, I've now made 14% compounded, or you know, 10% compounded. Suddenly now making an extra $100 a day or $200 a day is replacing your job. Next week, now you're making $250. The week after that, you're making $300 a day. It keeps multiplying, providing that you execute and you do the same analysis every day. You focus on your plan and you're good to go. Is there such thing as overtrading? Of course there is. People just want to trade because they think that they can make more money, right? So the perfect example is if I trade at 7 a.m., I can then trade at 8 o'clock and make more money. But I already made my profit for the day at 7 a.m. Why am I trading at 8 a.m.? It's greed. It's human emotion. You have to realize that it's a very mental game. And like I say to a lot of people, the only competition you should be in is with yourself. You'll see there's going to be people here that make millions a day. There's people that make $10 a day. It's really up to you, up to your financial situation, up to, you know, how well you understand the markets, how well you understand trading to create that path for yourself. You can learn off of other people. There's no doubt there. There's no doubt you're going to learn something from me. But trying to copy me or trying to use the same strategy I use, it's not going to work because maybe I have a different stop loss. Maybe I have a different risk appetite. You know, there's different things. I see different things, you know, than other people do. So you have to make trading your own. And that is the biggest thing that I can tell people is trading is subjective, and it's basically you have to think of it as an art form. Everyone interprets art different, just like we can look at a chart and 10 people will see 10 different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's the idea of, you know, just the mental aspect of what you're doing day in and day out, which will propel you to go through. So, sorry, I just had the cough there. You know, so what can you do to get a Forex return? I think that's an important question a lot of people ask me. And you know, the simplest thing is to consider what would you do with your own company? If you had your own company and you know you were in charge of something, what would you want your company to do? You know, you would want to you know, set yourself up, prepare yourself. Would you invest in the first idea you saw? So if you were opening up your company, would you invest in the first idea you saw? Chances are you probably wouldn't. You know, you'll probably, you know, just won't just do anything with your own firm. You have to set targets. You have to set everything up. It's the same thing with trading is you know, you want to prepare yourself to execute. The execution is the last thing on your list. It's all, you know, working in terms of getting to that point of execution. It's all the preamble steps before that which is going to make you successful as a trader. You know, people look at me and I always use myself as an example as they say, well, you know, Ted, you're consistent, you're successful. Yes, but I got that way because I have a specific plan that I follow. And every time I've broken that plan, and this is, I'll show you the examples where I've lost lots of money trading. Every time I've failed in a trade, it's because I've broken a rule. It's, you know, I've overtraded. I've traded in the wrong time zone. I've traded the wrong pair. I've traded the news. I've done things that are against my plan. When I've executed according to my plan, I've been fine. You'll find with other traders too that you meet in the trading groups, they'll say the same thing. They'll say, you know what? I did really well this week. And you'll say, oh, really? People did like, there was a couple people in my groups last week did like 40% return, 50% return in a week. Ask them what they did the week before. They made 40%, and then on Friday, they decided to trade NFP, which is like a big news event, and they lost it all. So they worked 4 days straight to benefit and to get a 40% return. And when you look at the current bank returns, you get like 3% or 4% out of a GIC, or if that, or your savings account. They made 40% on their money in 1 week, and then they threw it all away on Friday. Why? Because, once again, greed, addiction to random rewards. They couldn't control themselves because it's that thing of I can just get a little bit more if I work, not understanding where you're looking at what's going on. Yeah, so do you think lost trades could be considered company spending? Yeah, so you consider it a lesson, you can understand and learn from it, and it's just the idea is not making that same mistake again. Yeah, so Anthony said it, he did 77% in 1 day. Yes. So like I said, people are racking up these returns, but it's, stay consistent and make sure that you know what's happening and you're able to follow your plan accordingly. You know, and that's like another topic is when you start to look at it is, no plan will make you millions of dollars right away. So there's no holy grail. And this is the biggest thing that I tell people is, with what we do here, and you guys are all here on the webinar and you're learning things. A lot of this stuff you can learn on your own too. There's no doubt. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm not providing you something that you couldn't do yourself. What I'm doing is I've packaged it. I have the experience and I also have the understanding of what you're going to be going through to guide you through. And I think that's where mentorship comes in, is it sort of gives you a cheat sheet and it sort of accelerates your learning. But it doesn't mean that you're still not going to want to try and touch the stove even though I tell you the stove is hot. Like I have a good laugh with my traders, and everyone in the groups at like 3 o'clock Eastern time or 3:30 Eastern time in the middle of the North American session. People are looking to take a trade in the afternoon, middle of the afternoon. So think of it logically. The markets are starting to close at around 4 and 5, so the banks are closing. The majority of the trades were done in the mornings for setups in terms of trade execution, and now people are looking to take a trade in the afternoon. So what are you going to do now? What's your plan? You're going to hold it into the Asian session? Where is this trade going to go? How do we know what the Asian session is going to do? What's your long-term goals? Why are you entering a trade at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Why weren't you entering this trade in the morning when it was fresh, when the market just starting to set itself up? There's all these questions you ask, but it's because it's like I want to trade. I feel like I'm not doing anything by not trading, and the biggest mental hurdle there is you already did something. You beat 90% of the people that are out there trading. You were successful today. You were part of the 10%. So why do you not take that as a solid, congratulations to yourself that, you beat the 90% of people that lost today? People say like fail to plan to fail. And it's so important. People always say that though, like, why are you, not successful? And more than likely you didn't follow your plan. So the three key reasons here why you're also going to fail as a trader, and I like showing you the negative first because you can see right away why people are going to fail. Poor money management techniques, and this is something that I talk to people about as well. And a lot of people message me about the webinar as an example, and they'll say, Ted, I have $1,000. I want to give you $450, and then I need my rent money for next month, and I've got $500 left over. Do you think we can make rent money with the $500? And I take a step back, and there's two trains of thought there, and you guys pretty much will get to know me really well, and my other traders know me, and I've done some Instagram lives and things like that, so people have heard me talk before. Is are you going to mentally be able to trade with no pressure if the only way that you're going to try and make money today is trading? Is the only way that you can do it is trading, and that's scary because essentially what happens is now you're putting all the pressure on yourself, and what you're doing is you're basically saying, um, what can I do in terms of making money, and it's something I'm not good at in terms of trading, and how can I actually go through and do what we're doing? And it's sort of like, why would you put that pressure on yourself? Why not work full time and make trading your hobby? So if you lose money trading, if you lose $300 trading, it's not the end of the world. Why would you put undue pressure on yourself just because you want freedom? Freedom comes with a price. It always does. And a lot of people don't understand that. And then when it comes here, poor money management techniques, well, now you're pressured to make all this money that may not be, you may not be able to make. So now you're pushing the envelope. You're taking bigger lot sizes. You're taking more trades. You're risking more than you should. You know, as a rule, most people risk 1 to 3% on trades. I risk 5% max, 5, or some, maybe even sometimes 10%. But I'm aware of my situation. I'm aware that if I lose 10% today, if it's not going to crush me. It's not going to mentally break me. And I think that's the other thing too with poor money management techniques is you run your account up. Like people run their account up, they're so excited, they double their money and they want to keep doubling it, not realizing that, mentally taking a bigger lot size might be tougher on you than it was taking, a 0.1 lot where you're like, oh, this is easy. I just made $10 off of a $100 account. I can buy a Happy Meal. But try doing that with a $100,000 account and being in a drawdown for $10,000 or $15,000. Suddenly now that money means a little bit more, right? And I think that is the issue that you're going to run into because everyone's going to start with a smaller amount, but everybody wants to trade the big lots. You can't trade the big lots if you can't do the small lots. And that's really a key thing that you're going to want to take away is, and that's why I tell people when you first start trading is, you turn around and you say, I have $10,000 to trade, Ted, and people are saying, okay, this is, I want to trade this $10,000 in the market, but I have like a month's experience. Is it prudent to do that? Why would you want to risk that money when you're not that comfortable? Risk a smaller amount first, understand the markets, get used to the movement in the live account, and then add the money and slowly grow it. Don't throw in $50,000 into a trading account because you have the money. You're just going to throw it away. Throw $500 in. It's easier to lose $500 and say, okay, I still have 45 or 49,500 behind me, rather than it is to throw 50,000 in, take bigger lot sizes, lose all the money, and say, well, now I'm stuck 50,000. Is the 90-90-90 rule evident in the trading market? Yeah, I think so. 90% of the people do 90% of the things and 90% fail, yeah. How do people manage to make 50% return while risking 1%? They're not necessarily risking 1%. And the risk means that you're entering a trade where your stop is going to be 1% of your account, but then that's letting the trade run. So you get a little bit more profit. So that would be a reason there. Okay. So once again, the next one would be poor use of leverage combined with subpar money management. Once again, same thing. Trying to make $10,000 in a month with $100. Be realistic. Understand that you're not going to get there right away. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but don't put those expectations that are unrealistic on you. In this session, can you help us understand place stop loss and stop loss? Yes, we will do all those things later on. This is mental focus right now. We will see live examples of trades as well, so everything's going to be here, no problem. And the final one right now is poor market conditions for a trader's technique and strategy. So many trading strategies do better in certain market conditions than others. So what I mean by that is, taking a small loss when the trade goes against you. Don't mirror your trades. It's better to take a small loss early than a bigger loss later. And if a trade is in your favor, let it run. It's often tempting to close out a small gain in order to protect profits. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're patient, you're going to see better returns. But also trading according to your plan. Use stops, use limits, place pending orders. Really focus on just the execution of your plan and making sure that you're comfortable with that plan day in and day out, no matter how boring it is. Okay, some questions. So let's see. People are saying, can I make 500 in 2 weeks with 100 bucks? Just depends on market conditions. I can't answer those questions. What is my habit every day that makes you in the best condition before entering the market? Confidence. So confidence comes from education and also understanding and analysis. The more confident you are in your analysis, the better execution you will have, and the more successful you will be. When you're unsure of your analysis, you shouldn't be entering a trade. You shouldn't be saying, I think it will go this way. You should say, based on what I see, this is where it will probably be going. There's a difference between willing and thinking. You really want to make sure that you identify those things. And like I said, we will go through all these different time zones, the different timing, and as you work in the groups, you're going to start to recognize people are trading during certain specific periods. They're looking for specific setups. They're focusing on their plan. These are questions that are very subjective, and to answer them all here, it just would waste everybody's time as well. How much capital do you think is best for when you begin with trading with? It's really up to your own financial situation, but like I say, you start off small, get comfortable, and then if you need to put more in, you can do that. If you hit your mark, be it pips or percentage or whatever, do you always stop? Of course I do. How can you take what the market gives you and also let it run? Well, the idea is you want to take the best part of that position, right? So if I'm looking at a specific position and you're saying, I believe it will go to this level, if it comes to 70 or 80% of that level, maybe it's time to execute and exit. But the idea is when you're executing a trade, you should already have a predetermined profit target. So that means letting your trades run, but also at the same time, maybe put in a trailing stop, see if it'll go further. So it's a little bit of both at that point. Is gold volatility? I'm not going to answer that. That's for later. We'll do that. Any readings will help with the mental side of trading? Yes, trading in the zone. I see Javier make 2,300 to 1 million in just 1 month. How can you do that with money management? He didn't. He just ran it up like a madman. He's special that way. So to begin, after this webinar, students should read the book, read about Forex, and there should be mental fortitude. Yeah, read Trading in the Zone. It'll help you. Yeah, we have all the books. Everything will be outlined for you. Before you place a trade, do you do the fundamental, then the technical? We will go through all that, and I will talk to you that. Can you use a trailing stop on MT4? Yes, you can. Okay, so another topic that I like to talk about in these groups is understanding human behavior. So this is the psychology of people. This can be applied to anything. I like to use this because as a poker player, understanding human behavior allows you to be your optimal at a poker table. So understanding human behavior at the Forex table or the Forex, trading desk will allow you to be your most optimal. So there are a lot of vices people have, right? So if you think about it, some people drink too much, some people smoke too much, some people gamble too much. And what's the thing that everybody says? Everybody says that anything, overindulgence is bad. And that's right. But anything in moderation is okay. So when you look at Forex and you say, well, Forex can be considered gambling, and if you only do it certain times, it could be okay, right? Because you're profiting. It's the same thing sort of with going to a casino. You're able to go through and say, okay, if I take my $100 and I make $25 off the 100, I made a 25% return, right? But what do people do when they go to the casino? It's like, well, they have a dream of making $1,000 from $10,000. So, you have to be realistic. So it's part of human behavior, and we're going to go through some of that right now. How exactly is someone able to use 2,300 to make $1 million in a month? Javier just over leveraged his account and ran it up trading like small time frames. Smaller your account, the more leverage, and the greater your account, the smaller the leverage. Not necessarily. It depends on what your broker gives you. How about, is it okay for us to set trading period of maybe 3 hours a day, and if we had our daily target with 1 hour can I carry on with another 2? Well, once again, if you hit your target after 1 hour, why are you trading for two more hours? You've done your job. If you went to work and you worked 9 to 5 and you completed your task and your boss said, stay and do more tasks and not get paid, would you stay? It's the same thing here with trading. If I make 5% in one in say 20 minutes or 30 minutes, if I make 5%, why am I now spending the rest of my time trying to make more money? I've hit my target. I have now the entire day to go do something else. Why am I not coming in and adjusting my plan to say this is what I'm doing? And this is, like I said, your project plan or your trading plan at this point, when we outline it, you will understand this. And if you can't understand the fact that once you make a certain percentage, you should stop, you will blow your account. It's simple as that. The reason why I haven't blown my account, and the reason why a lot of people haven't blown accounts, is because they stop and they're able to control themselves. If you have to, disconnect your computer for the day. Close your internet down so you don't even have it tempting to go on there. Make it easy on yourself. Who's my star student? I have a lot of star students, actually. So it isn't about the money, it's about the satisfaction and education, correct. In terms of what? In terms of me doing what I'm doing? Of course, it's a challenge. When I started off trading, I wanted to see if I can make other people as good as I am, and now people are better than me. It's great, and I learn from them. Is your goal a percentage of your account or daily amount of trades? It's a percentage of my account. Okay, so let's talk about money. Since we're talking about trading and we're talking about, the idea that we want to make money, this is your 4 keys to human emotions. You have envy, greed, lust, and gluttony. So if you were in hell, if you believe in heaven and hell, if you were in hell, that's where they send all these people, right? You're envious of your neighbor because they have a brand new car. You're greedy because you want more money. You lust over things, whether it's people or other items, and then you basically overindulge, right? So you go to your local donut store, whether it's Tim Hortons or wherever you are, and instead of ordering half a dozen of donuts, you want a full dozen because you love donuts, instead of realizing, hey, I can come back tomorrow and still have a couple more donuts and I'll be all right. So when you look at this scenario and you look at the first one of envy, this is probably, if you can understand and grasp these concepts, you will be very successful very fast as a trader. And it's something that comes with age, and it's something that comes with maturity. And I find that, like I said, I'm 37. I started trading a couple of years ago. I saw social media as an example, and this is important here. What do you see on social media? All these Instagram posts, all these Facebook posts of what people are doing, how much money they have, where they're spending their money, the car they drive, right? So now what you do, you start to see the same thing, and you start to say, okay, well, I see, John Smith with his fancy car, and I want that car. So, you expect this emotion of envy when you want something that we don't have. So you want that flashy car. So, what's the first thing? I have this all the time. People are saying the first thing that I'm going to do when I, make $100,000 is I'm going to buy a card, or sorry, I'm going to buy a fancy car. And you turn around and you laugh about that, and I laugh too, because that was my mentality when I first started off. It's like, once I make this money, I'm going to buy all these things because that's what I've always wanted. But when you start trading, you start to realize, wait a second, this stuff doesn't really matter to me anymore. And I always laugh because people have always asked me, they said, Ted, how come you don't post all the stuff that you buy? And I look at people, I'm saying, because I enjoy it myself. Why do you want to see my life? Well, what is so important about my life that you want to see that? And it's because you want to see what you're missing out on. And instead of focusing on yourself and focusing on how to get to that point, you just want to look at people. And it's funny because you see social media, people post motivational pictures. This is motivation. If you look at my car, it's motivation that you can do it too. No, it's not. You're showing off because you're able to do it, and now you think that everyone can do this, and not everybody can. So why are you not showing them how they can do it? Why are you not giving them the tools to do that? Why are you showing them the end result? How come you're not showing them the struggle it took for you to get there? Nobody ever shows on social media the bad stuff. You never turn around and say on social media, hey, it was a great day today because I got divorced. Nobody posts that stuff, right? So what do people post things? They post things about, oh, I'm going on a trip. I can't wait to go. Oh, I just won this money. I just did really great here. I was successful here. I finished first place, right? Because it was, one of those things where people turn around and they say things like that, and you sort of laugh because nobody ever wants to post about the bad things. They just want to post about the good stuff. And it's the same thing in social media. So what are you bombarded with in social media? You're bombarded with social media of all these posts of all the stuff that you don't have. So how does that affect you mentally? Well, you now are just trying to chase everything. So you're saying to yourself, okay, well, I can turn around and I can say, um, I guess the word would be, sorry, I would say, hey, if I do what this person is doing, I'm going to have what they have. And that's the biggest mistake that you can do as a person, is look at what someone else has and say, I can do the same thing and I can get what they get. There's no doubt in my mind you can get what they get, but your path to how you get that is very different. And it's the same thing with trading. Maybe, one person is able to make $1 million in a month. Maybe you lose $500 in that month. Everyone's path is different. And the best situation for you to do is, you eliminate this negative emotion. And what ends up happening is envy basically loops that rationally we know that this isn't what we should be doing, but we do it anyways. And when people say money doesn't buy happiness, and how often do you feel that if you had extra money you would feel a lot happier? um, you know and you look at it and you say, okay, well, when I have more money I'm going to be happy. And then when you have that money, you start to realize that you haven't changed emotionally. You're not happier. You think you are, but inside you're not. Money does not make you happy. Money gives you the freedom to do what you want to do. It'll be your experiences, it'll be your family, it'll be your friends that will give you your happiness at that point. All right. Yes, yes. Oh, here comes all the Lambo comments. All right, so yeah, people made a bunch of comments that. But here's the thing. So, you look at envy and Ted just spent like 15 minutes talking about how not to be envious, and you shouldn't be envious. And these are human emotions. So these are emotions that you're always going to feel. Anyone who says they're 100% emotionless is, incorrect. I mean, I say I have no emotion to trading. Um, I like to believe that, and for the most part I do, but there are some times where I'm just sort of like, yeah, I just kicked the market's ass. That's an emotion. That's me beating the market up. I'm happy. Or, the other week I lost $250,000 and I was sort of like, market kicked my ass. That sucked. But the next day I get up and it's a new day, right? So that's where, my emotion sort of stops. But, with these emotions and with with envy, you can turn around and say to yourself, it's okay to be envious at this point. Like, you have to say to yourself at some times that you will feel envy at you know one of those things. But you look at the envious feeling, and what you have to do is you have to acknowledge that you feel envy when you think about what your friend has or what you don't have, and the resources to do yourself, right? So, or when you see a family member show up with a brand new car every year, or you see people wearing like that, like designer pair of shoes or that Louis Vuitton bag that you want. Um, you have to admit that you're feeling that emotion from time to time and recognize it. And but at the same time, you shouldn't let yourself let envy rule your life. You or take actions to cause you harm because you're envious of that. So basically, simple thing is quit the comparison game. That's the simplest thing to do, and I tell people this a lot. Quit comparing yourself to other people. It's hard, and that, like I said, this is a mental thing. It's hard, but you only know what you see about a person, right? So if I post a picture of my cars, I post a picture of my house, I post a picture of my safe in my basement with all my money, you only see what I let you see. You don't see, my dad had a heart attack in September. You don't see that I've had to help other people. You don't see all the other things I've had to do, and this is, a personal thing. But what I'm saying is most people only allow you to see what they want you to see. If you had a full engagement of their entire life, maybe you would take a step back and say, whoa, okay, that's not something that I'm interested in. When you look at these things and you said, you look, and I always say this and people laugh, is, you see someone post pictures of cars, bottles, women, clothing that they wear, money, stacks of money. What what are they not showing you? What are they missing in their lives? Because now suddenly, how come I'm not seeing pictures of their family? How come I'm not seeing pictures of their friends? These are things that, if you can dissect, and this is something that I tell people, and it's another topic, is, critical thinking is when you're in the charts, you look at the chart at face value, and you're going to say to me, Ted, how come the market moved this way today? Because the chart did what it did. You have to look at the fact that um, there are other things going on beyond what you see. And this is the same thing with what you see when you compare people. You look at me and say, well, Ted, you're successful. But you didn't see Ted up at 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. not sleeping to see the struggle that I had to get where I'm at. And that's fine. I didn't need you to see that. What I showed you was a possibility, and what I give you is I give you the tools and show you what you need, but showing you a picture of my car is not going to help you learn how to trade. It's just me showing you how, look, I spent money. You don't know where I got that money from. Maybe I have a rich dad. Maybe I have a rich mother who gave me 200 grand to buy me that car, and now I can market it as my own. Maybe I leased that car for 1,500 bucks a month. There are so many outside factors, and that's why social media, especially in Forex, really skews things, because when people started seeing me trade and me being successful, they said, well, Ted is trading demo money, right? So that's the first thing everybody says with the Forex family is, you guys are all demo traders. And we sit and laugh, and you guys will sit and laugh too, because now over the next couple of months, you guys will all be part of this movement. You guys will all be part of our groups. You guys will all be making money, and you're going to sit back and say, you know what? I remember when Ted told me this, that we were going to make money and we were going to be, obviously if you follow your plan and you do what you need to do, you're going to have some success. But you're going to start to realize what the best traders in these groups do day in and day out, and you're going to start to identify things that you can do that are similar to what they do. And now you're going to start to realize, I don't care what car you drive. I don't care how much money you have, because now I'm being successful on my own, and suddenly now it's happening. It's funny because my perception was I don't really care like what car I drive. I don't really care about that stuff. But the problem is when you look at things like this, you say to yourself, what is real and what is not real? What are you looking for? Are you looking for someone who can show you their fancy car, or are you looking for someone that can give you insight into the markets? Um, and they say, well, Ted, you're a demo trader and you made demo money. And then I said, okay, well, are all 300 of the people in my group, all demo traders. So you're telling me everyone out of the Forex family, or before it was the Forex Bootcamp, they all joined. They have not said one bad thing about me in terms of what I've taught them and what I lead them. And they're all trading demo accounts. And now we're all doing this together. So you guys have all paid me $450 US. Thank you. I give each one of those traders $1 out of the $450. So today they all made basically $160 a piece. So that was their payment for the last 3 months of posting on Instagram, $160. So when you think about it logically and you just dissect things, and this is what I always tell people, when you look at exactly what's happening in the world. Sorry, just answering an email. You look at that stuff and you say, what makes sense logically? And this is why I always tell people when they message me, and every one of you have messaged me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you found me, and you said, Ted, I want to do your course, blah, 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 tell me all about it, and I give you this spiel about this, that, and the other thing. Half of you didn't read the website, half of you didn't read what I wrote on Instagram, and you all piss me off every day because you ask me the same stupid questions. How much is your webinar? Is your webinar recorded? Are you going to be there? What color pants are you wearing? What are you doing? Like all these questions that are easily answerable in Instagram or wherever you're looking, but you ask me. I answer the questions graciously. I tell you where they are. So you're telling me now all these other people that I tell you to go speak to, they're all lying for me too. There's no benefit. And that's why I knew eventually when you look at what I grew from just a small movement last June, you start to see that people respect me what I do because you can't have this many liars. Eventually I would fall apart. Eventually someone would say Ted is an idiot. Ted knows nothing about trading. And don't take his webinar. Don't do anything. But instead I have people begging me like I'm the Apple store and I'm selling the next iPhone. Like, oh, can I get in tomorrow? Like people are messaging me now asking me, can I get in tomorrow? And I'm saying, I put this up in January specifically for this to give you 3 months of going on vacation, taking a shit, figuring out where you need to be in life to show up for the 19th, or at least gather $450 to put in PayPal to get to me somehow so that you would have access to this. And at the end of the day, I laugh because it doesn't matter what we give people, it just doesn't make a difference. And this is where social media has really tarnished everything because, if I showed you pictures of my car, you would look at me and say, Ted, holy shit, what are all those things? And, oh, Ted's the best trader in the world. Why? Because I have a car? No. I show you results. I show you other students' results. These students now are mentoring other people. We have mentors mentoring new people. We have grown things because we are executing on our plans. We're not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm not worried that, Rag, as an example, or Javier, they're making millions of dollars a day. I'm in their groups. They're in my groups. I see the results every day. These guys absolutely destroy the market more than I ever thought I could. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm happy with my rates of return. They're happy with their rates of return. So at the end of the day, last year when I started posting my results and people were like, oh, you're a demo trader, I sort of laughed because I said, you know what? And I said this to myself and I laughed in my head. I said, I know that there's going to be people that are going to come up through these trades. They're going to get better because they're more focused than I am. I mean, I'm a simple person. I'm not that smart. There's smarter traders. There's smarter people than me. They will eclipse me and they will praise what I gave them. And I didn't give you anything. I gave you the tools. I was there for you. I will be there for you now. But they took it upon themselves to reinvent and to build something that was better than what I did. And this continues every day in what we have with the Forex family. So I don't compare myself to any of the mentors that mentor out there. I think there's a lot of great mentors, but I do my own thing. You come along with me. I show you everything that I do. I don't hide anything. I don't take trades. If you want to know what trade I'm taking at 7 a.m., I post charts. I show you what I'm doing. If it works for your trading plan, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I help you with your charts. I give you honest feedback. I tell you what you've done wrong. I tell you what you've done right. We don't compare. I don't care that you make $1 a day. I don't care that you make $1 million a day. What I care about is your attitude towards what you're doing. Are you passionate about it? And are you going to just focus on yourself and make yourself better? And the best way to make yourself better is passing information along so that you can now bounce ideas off of others. And the best traders out of these groups have become mentors, have passed information back and forth, have written documents, have done webinars, have taught people, because it only makes your knowledge reinforced and very, very strong. So when you look at things on social media, you just have to laugh. Like, honestly, you're going to be in our groups and we're just going to laugh at people because, show me stacks of money. Great. Like, what does it do for us? We're here every day destroying the market. And there's a testament to that. You'll meet all the traders that are in the groups and they'll tell you that. Well, I don't care what so-and-so is doing on Instagram. Who cares? Who cares if they call us demo traders? We're not. You know what? Because we don't flash money, we don't do anything. But at the end of the day, you see the results. You'll see the results yourself. And then what do you say? Well, I guess now you're part. We're now part of you're now part of the scam too. So now all you people are coming in. Feel free to start talking about all the demo money you're making, because I know that you don't want to go out to nice restaurants to eat. I know you don't want to be able to pay off bills. I know you don't want to live a life. So you're welcome to the scam. You'll get your dollar next month. Like. It's really funny when you look at stuff like that. At the end of the day, unless you're checking out, the financial statements of others, unless you have their full bio in front of you, there's not going to be any way that 100% what they're doing or what they're not doing. And they're just showing you what they want you to see. And at the end of the day, you have to interpret that as what you're looking for. The other thing when it comes down to is, stop valuing stuff. Stop trying to put a value on what someone else has and what you don't have. Think about all the things that you do have. Focus on that. You'll realize that as you start to focus on the things that really matter to you, you have a lot more things than the next person. I go through this a lot with people because, people say to me, well, I want to buy a house in Toronto, and, we live in Toronto, and housing prices are expensive, and I can't afford a house. I said, okay, but do you have a place to live? Yeah, we're renting, a place. Okay. What about the homeless person on the street that can't even afford rent? You're doing better than that person, so put a value on what you have. Not everybody's going to want to buy a house. Not everybody's going to be able to afford a house. But are you healthy? Do you have a good family? Do you have a good girlfriend or a good boyfriend? Do you have a good husband, a good wife? Like, start working on things that matter more. Because if tomorrow everything gets leveled and you only have the person beside you or your family, we're all equal at that point. And I value the relationships that I have with people over a dollar value that I don't know how that dollar value came to. So more than likely, you probably have everything you need anyways. You just don't realize it because you're worried about what everybody else has. Appreciate the good you have in your life and you're good. And when you look at these things and, when you see all these things, the problem is, people say to me, well, Ted, I can't, like, how do you focus past this? When you look at things and you look at stuff that's happening, you have to realize mentally the brain remembers. Okay, so when you think about this, and you think closely, and you say to yourself, okay, you look at your public speaking when you're in grade school, right? Everybody that did something in grade school that they were embarrassed about can probably tell you right now what they did. And what they did wrong. And it's funny because you always remember the bad things. So when you're trading, what do you remember? The first thing you remember when you're going to be trading is all the losses. Oh, I took this loss, I took this loss, and this went wrong, and that went wrong. But what you don't remember is the good times. Oh, I made money today. It was easy. I made money yesterday. It was easy. So you have to change your mindset, and you have to understand that mind is going to remember a lot of the bad times, and your mind is going to remind you of, you know, things that didn't go your way. So what does that create? That creates fear. So when you're trading, this is where, you know, people say, how can you be consistent? It's because I don't have fear. I understand what's happening. I'm confident in what's happening. And this is something you bring to the table as part of your trading, is you're saying to yourself, I have no fear of the market anymore because I know what the two outcomes can be. The first outcome is I can be profitable. The second outcome, I can take a loss. Now, if I don't know why I've taken a loss, that is a gap, or that is a leak in my learning or my education. I have to solve that. There should be never a time where you take a trade just because you took a trade. And I don't know who's on here, and I probably will, I'll get to know all of you as we go through. But there are people that message me from time to time and show me a chart. And they'll say, Ted, what do you think of this trade? Should I buy or should I sell? And I say, it depends. And you'll hear that a lot from me. And people get mad at me and they'll say, Ted, you're a horrible mentor. You always say it depends. It's subjective. It's one of those things. But here's the thing. Why are you asking me what something should do? Why are you not telling me what it should do and why? And that comes from education. That comes from building your plan. That education then builds your confidence and it reduces your fear. Your fear then gets pushed away and now you become a trader. And now you don't have that fear. And your memory then starts to remember how you gained instead of how you lost, because you're doing the gains more consistent than your losses. And this removes your fear. Now, once again, that comes with time. So you're not going to jump off this webinar tomorrow and you're not going to be an all-star trader. You're not going to be like, wow, this is great. You know, I'm able to do this and I'm going to be successful in a month. It's not. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But the most successful traders, and I'll tell you this from myself and from other traders in this group, is they know about a loss and they forget it the next minute later. They don't dwell on it. You know, I lost last week. It didn't bother me. Why? Because I've won before. And this is the toughest part about being a trader is when you take your losses and you're a new trader, you believe trading is the toughest thing in the world and you're never going to get good at this. As you start to win, you start to realize you're doing something right. You have to build on that. And you have to say to yourself, okay, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. And as you continue through that, that is where you build your confidence. So yes, in the beginning, trading is very difficult because all you're doing is taking losses and you're not understanding why things are happening. But as soon as it starts to click, you have to write your plan, and this is why I always say, you know, as we'll talk, you have a trading journal because now you have to start to remember the times that you won. It's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, you write down every exercise you do, every set you do, and every repetition you do. Because next week, your mind does not remember everything that you did. It'll remember the exercises. So you know, like Monday is legs day or Monday's chest day. So you do your chest exercises. But you're not going to remember every week, every exercise, every single set, every single rep. Because you might have done incline bench press and you might have done 3 sets of 8 and you know, your 4th set you did 7. So now you come back to the gym and the next week you're saying, well, I did 4 sets, so I did 3 sets of 8. How many did on my last rep? I don't know. So now suddenly you don't remember how to improve. And this is the same thing with trading. When you build your trading plan and you build your trading journal, you are documenting things to show improvement, to show progress. Because that's what I always tell people, like that are struggling, that are, you know, they have a mental block. I say, well, look at what you've done in the last, say, you know, last month. How many trades did you win? Oh, I won 20. Why were those trades winning trades? Well, I did this and this and this. Why aren't you doing that? You know, that is the most important thing at that point, is why aren't you doing these things over and over again? And this is the reason why I tell people to mark things down, to make things work in terms of your plan, in terms of your execution, in terms of your journal. Execution is the easiest part, preparation is the most difficult. And if you can follow those rules, you have a better chance of success. So, and carrying on, and we talk about, I'm just going through some of my notes here, fear doesn't form in a vacuum. It's basically a learned response to a particular event or probability. Um, in the case of trading, when you have a trade that goes bad, the regret and frustration, it can carry over to the next trade. And as new traders, you're going to find that, and you're going to then hesitate on the next trade. And then, obviously Murphy's Law says, the trade that you don't enter is the one that you should have entered. And then all that happens is it adds to that, anguish or that mental state of, well, I lost this trade. I didn't enter that trade because I was afraid of losing again. And now that trade ran really well. So I really don't know what I'm doing. So that's why, once again, it's important at the end of the day, you have that that journal to keep you, and that trading plan to keep you on track. And then obviously with greed, it does the opposite. You start winning trades, now you're going to start entering more trades. So, you basically, at the end of the day, with the mental game, is really understanding yourself and really doing a diagnosis on yourself, understanding what your triggers are, understanding where you need to be, how you need to be emotionally, mentally, ready. What are things in your life that are causing you, stress or anxiety, and understanding, that there are certain things you're going to be able to control, and then there are certain things that you're not able to control. So I think that is very important as a trader, to really separate what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and really understand what's going on as a trader. So, next topic when we talk about is, so how do you control your emotions while trading? It's exactly what I've been talking about, is, your education, your confidence, and your consistency. It's doing the same thing over and over again. And these are the keys. So, people say, how long did it take you to master Forex? I haven't mastered it yet. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not open to learning new things. I just may not incorporate them into what I'm doing because I am comfortable with what I'm doing right now. And it's the same thing with you as a trader, is, figuring out what works for you and just focusing on that. It's not necessarily going to be, reading 20 books or, constantly learning different strategies or different things. The idea here is basically figuring out what works for you, having the confidence to execute, and then being consistent day in and day out with that. The question here is, how difficult is it to win trades consistently? It really depends on what your trading plan is and how are you able to execute with that trading plan. So if you understand what you're looking for, and this is why I tell people, and we're going to work on this in the next sections, is, if you're building a trading plan, you're focusing on 1 to 3 pairs, you need to learn the ins and outs of those pairs so you understand when they move, how they move. You're going to do your analysis on that, and you're going to execute based on that information. What's the strike rate for your trading plan? I guess the win rate is probably 80 to 90%. Okay, so we finished topic 2.